Boykin. This is hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. I'm testing out a new format, doing this live, and I do it, as you should know if you pay attention. I do an article at least once a day, if not multiple articles. I do a lot of things doing with opinions, and I try to get different angles. I know while everybody else goes live right immediately and says, "Hey, there's news. I got to go live. I don't know all the details, but I need to go live because I need to be first and I need to get the advertisement out there and everything like that." I take a little time. Normally, what I do with these is I record them, I put them out there. Still might do this with this video, but I usually start with facts first and then do the commentary. But I'm going to start with the commentary today. So this is basically about the article I just put out that is called "Who Ordered the Hit on Charlie Kirk? Lone Gunman and Orchestrated Political Hit." So we're going to start with the commentary. This is the hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin commentary. Question everything or lose the republic. And you can check this out on GoRightNews.com. So, friends, patriots, and citizens who still believe truth matters, lend me your attention. We live in a dangerous times for truth. A public figure is dead. A single name has been handed to us as the answer. We are told to accept closure. We are told to nod, to move on, and to trust that the institutions charged with protecting us have done their job. But ask yourselves this: when a story this huge lands in our laps with so many blanks, do we really have any obligation to accept it without question? Or do we have a duty to ask loudly and repeatedly every unsettling question that the authorities, platforms, and pundits try to sweep away? Fortunately for a lot of us, we watched the video of Charlie Kirk being assassinated, wondering if it was AI, wondering if it was real, over and over again before we realized, yes, it was apparently real. And then a lot of us said, "Oh my God." And that image is stuck in your head. It is 9/11. It is 9/11. It's the Twin Towers falling. It is seeing something in a brick of a moment, life than death. For some, it's fascinating. We have to do it. We have to watch. We have to analyze, and it's unfortunate. Go Right News is here to do the hard thing. We ask the questions other outlets shrink from asking because most of them are, they're bought and paid for. They're not independent. They worry about what they're going to say. We ask those questions, not for sport or to stir the pot, even though some people try to say that, but because democracy or a republic demands on the relentless examination of power. That is citizen journalism. That is why independent voices exist. So let us ask, who identified the suspect? Who did the investigators get from zero to a name? And what was the chain of evidence? There are raw affidavits, the surveillance footage, the forensic reports, the Discord server logs, and the chain of custody records for the rifle and the DNA matches. Are those documents being redacted, delayed, or quietly filtered through prosecutors and PR teams? And if so, why? Why did a technological platform at first seem to deny evidence and then provide it? When Discord or any social platform flips like that, it's not a trivial error. It is a crack in the public record. Platforms decide what is allowed, what is amplified, and sometimes what is hidden. If they cannot account for fundamental messages in a murder investigation, they owe us a full accounting. The timestamps, the account media data, the IP history, the preservation logs, anything less than half truth, it breeds rumor. And if you read the logs, I'm sorry, you read the logs, and I'm pulling it up right now, and you're supposed to read read the text message between Charlie Kirk's ex-spec roommate. And it's the man accusing Charlie Kirk, and it's the unnamed roommate. And then you're supposed to read this romantic relationship that they keep saying that they're gay and the roommate is trans, but yet there's no evidence. Absolutely no evidence. And if there was, there was. If it is, it is. But there's no evidence other than what people keep spreading. And then the Washington Post says it, and the Washington Post retracts it. The full record of text messages is like, Robinson, drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. I had the opportunity to take Charlie, and I'm going to take him out. He says, what? You're joking, right? Oh, I am still okay, my love, but I'm struck in Orem for a little while longer. Shouldn't we be long till we come out? And we got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep the secret till I died of old age, and I'm sorry to involve you. And roommate says, you weren't the only one. You weren't the only one that did it. And Robin said, oh, I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. Oh no, they grabbed some crazy old dude and interrogated someone in similar clothing. And I had planned to grab my rifle at a drop point. And the conversation goes on and on with this. And it's so convenient that everything that they need was said supposedly in this conversation. Anybody who uses online knows that this is not a real conversation. To me, it sounds like a bunch of hogwash. But it'll be up to Discord to prove it. Now, why have we heard so little directly from the accused? Maybe the lawyers are really good. Where is the recorded statement? Why are they seeing informant redactions or resuscitations rather than primary testimony? Are there other persons of interest who were centered in this dismissed? I mean, we're at the fifth suspect, pretty much, folks. In a country that values due process, I mean, I hate to say it, but we are still a country that has practically or almost or have, and people argue and say that haven't, deported people who are legal citizens without due process. Mistakes happen. Things happen. In a country that values due process, every step of that investigation belongs to the public, not only to the prosecutors. And this is going to have to go to the court of law. Let us also ask the hard political questions without failing into the trap of blaming entire communities. Powerful people and networks exist. Influence is real. Lobbyists, financial leaders, global institutions, and they tug, they push, and they bend politics every day. If a rising voice like Charlie Kirk was shifting from one faction to another, or if he was set to become a national player, who benefited from his silence? Benefit's not guilt, but motive is not proof. But motive is why we ask. Ask about history. America has a thread of political killings shown through its modern memory. Leaders who pushed movements, who challenged entrenched power, who rattled the cages of the uncomfortable or the comfortable. Abraham Lincoln, MLK Jr., Malcolm X, the Kennedys. Each case is its own tragedy and its own gauntlet of unresolved questions. That history means two things. First, we must be vigilant when leaders are attacked. Second, we must refuse to trade vigilance for paranoia. There is a difference between demanding documentation and inventing malevolent conspiracies. We pursue facts. We do not manufacture villains. And yet, let us not forget the role of technology in amplifying doubt in a world of deep fakes, generative text, and manufactured screenshots. Every quote leak must be authenticated. We cannot accept screenshots as gospel. We must demand server logs that show perseverance and providence. We must insist on metadata and original files, not JPEGs passed through 1,000 DM chains. If we fail to insist on providence, we will drown in a sea of fabricated evidence that looks real enough to convince the gullible and to silence the skeptical, especially if we're talking about possibly jury trials. That's the day and age we live in, folks. Some will call this questioning dangerous. Some will say it feeds the conspiracies. I say the opposite. Not asking questions is what kills trust. Not demanding transparency is how narratives calcify and become unchallenged orthodoxy. If institutions are confident in their case, they should welcome scrutiny. Let the documents be public. Let the transcripts be released. Let independent counsels or a special prosecutor look at the records under oath and on camera. If the cases are airtight, openness will destroy rumor. If it is not airtight, openness will expose errors and make reform possible. So, to the readers and the listeners, do not surrender your curiosity to headlines. Read. Follow the source documents. If a news clip cites a FBI source, ask for the filing. If a screenshot is presented, ask for the server logs. If a platform delivers a statement, ask for the internal timeline. Journalism is not opinion. Journalism is the collection and verification of facts. Opinion has its place, but we must wear a clearly labeled coat. Too many people spout half truths because they did not bother to read a court filing or a timeline. That is our cultural problem, and it is fixable. And folks, I have my ideas. I have my opinions of ideas. But I never think of anything as fact until I finally get the information. To those in power, transparency is not weakness. It is only legitimate armor you can use to defend suspicion. Release the filings, release the redacted logs if you must, but show us the chain. Allow independent investigators. Allow the press to see what you have, under supervision if necessary. The alternative is worse silence, which breeds rumor, which breeds violence, which weakens the republic. So at Go Right News, we keep asking. If we have to, with the Freedom of Information Act, well, we can freedom of action. We'll demand oversight committees to hold public hearings. We will push for platforms to disclose timelines. We will never refuse hunger for the truth with a lust for spectacle. We will call out lazy narratives on the left and on the right, and we will not give weight to scapegoating. We will not tolerate hatred masked as analysis. And we will, above all, insist that every claim be tied to evidence that everyone can inspect. If asking these questions makes us targets, so be it. We will accept the heat of scrutiny. We will accept the slings and arrows of mockery. Because a republic worth defending requires citizens willing to pry open closed rooms and demand air. Journalism, real journalism, citizen journalism, opinion grounded in evidence is the firewall between chaos and the rule of law. So ask us, demand the documents. Ask with us, demand the documents. Push for independent oversight. Read the filings. Don't trust the soundbite. Question everything, because that's the only way to honor the dead and the republic. Go Right News will be watching. Will you? I'll tune back on later with the meat of this episode and this article. Again, you can check the whole article out at gorightnews.com. We'll be back.